This is a WWN Publishing Group recording. Copyright 2017, all rights reserved. This is an abridged version of Hot Georgia Rein by Martha Sweeney to make the story appropriate for all listeners on YouTube. Read to you by the author. If you want to read the complete story, you can find the ebook or paperback online. Links are provided below in the description.
Chapter 24, Henry. "Wasn't sure if you were going to show up," I say, when I hear her knock on the outside of the partially opened barn door. "I was debating it," she confirms timidly, entering. I walk over to Ivy, kiss her, and then close the door. "Don't want to take any chances?" she inspects nervously. "Something like that," I confirm, pecking her cheek. "Slow," she reminds. "Slow," I agree. "But I can't promise too much of that when we have sex." Ivy grins. "I like the sound of that." "I like the idea of you taking this off," I state, tugging at the thing she's wearing over her dress. "Not yet," she claims. "Why?" I press with a pout. "Too much skin," Ivy informs, flashing me slightly before continuing toward the table. "Damn, Firefly," I grunt. "Did that dress shrink?" "No," she replies. Our eyes meet and I can't help but smile more. "They've gotten bigger." "Duh," she sighs, dragging her fingers over the tabletop. "I knew it," I reply. Ivy's smile widens, but it doesn't reach her eyes completely. "You okay, Firefly?" I inspect as she wanders a little more into the barn.
"Will be," she affirms. "Still not a good memory from the last time I was here."
"Thought this afternoon would have kept you away more than last night," I comment. Ivy turns sharply in my direction. "Word travels fast in this town," I remind. I was impressed. I heard your mama gave them a good licking, too. "She started it," Ivy chuckles. "And I finished it. She stopped me before I pulled a Kiki." I laugh. I don't think anyone could pull a Kiki like Kiki. Ivy doesn't comment as she starts to peruse my sculptures. "Hey," I say, tugging her into me. "Don't let them get to you." Ivy's head bobs. "Trying." "They don't matter," I remind. "What's this one for?" Ivy asks, inspecting a very personal sculpture. "What do you mean?" I search. "It's very different from the rest," she states. "It's not me, and it's not us." "It's me," I reveal. Ivy nods as she studies it more. "The phoenix. That's how you feel?" "Felt," I clarify. "Felt after the last talk Juliana and I had." Ivy smiles. "I'm glad you two talked." "Me too," I sigh. I wrap my arms around her, holding her as close as possible. "Smells good," Ivy says. "Yeah," I chuckle. "Since when have you been able to cook?" she teases. "There's a lot we have to catch up on," I remind. "True," Ivy agrees. "Shit," I mumble, letting go of her. "Wait here, I forgot something." I rush up to the house, grabbing some of the condiments I meant to bring down earlier, but left because they wouldn't fit into the mini fridge. I close the barn door as soon as I leave, hoping to give Ivy privacy and to keep her from leaving. Running into the house, I almost knock over a few things. Ivy looks relieved when I return. We sit down to eat, and I offer to push in her chair. "So," I begin, trying to let Ivy know it's safe to talk. "I've been doing construction since you left for college." "Similar stuff to the statues?" Ivy inquires. "No," I share. "That's on the side, a stress reliever." "You should really look into marketing them," Ivy mentions. "They're phenomenal. I'm sure you could charge a pretty penny for them, especially for the made-to-order products." "Something to consider," I agree, taking a sip of my beer. "You drink a lot," she states slowly. "I've been cutting back," I admit, but yeah, it was one of the ways I dealt with things. Juliana did it more too after finding out. Ivy nods but doesn't comment. "I can drink something else if it'll make you more comfortable," I offer. "It's okay," Ivy claims. "It's just something to get used to." "I don't drink to get drunk. Not anymore," I explain. Ivy smiles. "Good to know. Do you drink?" I inquire. "On occasion," Ivy shares. "I'm so busy in New York that I don't really have time to enjoy it." She chews and swallows. "Please don't think that I'm judging. I'm not. It's just I'm not used to seeing you drink." "When are you going back?" I blurt, wincing the second the words leave my mouth. "Next week," Ivy shares. "I do have a business to run." I nod. "But things are going great, so I can come back regularly and work from here," she adds. "I'm flexible," I reveal. "I can come up there, too." Ivy's hand pauses when it gets to her mouth. "New York? That's where you are, aren't you?" I laugh. "Yeah," Ivy confirms, taking a bite. "I just never guessed you'd be willing to come up." "I told you that I will do anything for us to be together," I remind. Ivy nods as she continues to chew. "Yeah," she replies, taking a sip of her drink. "I remember you saying that." "Why do I feel like you don't believe me?" I press gently. It's not that I don't believe you, she sighs. It's just not something I expected to hear you say. What did you expect me to say? I inquire. That you were hoping I'd move down here, she states, which I'm willing to do. You don't need to uproot yourself, I say. Nor do you, Ivy returns. We take a few bites, unsure of what to say. I wouldn't mind leaving New York, Ivy suddenly admits. Really? I chuckle. I've changed too, she reminds. Apparently, I agree. Ivy looks away, almost as if hurt by my comment. Sorry, Firefly, I say, reaching over and taking her hand. I didn't mean it like that. I know, she replies softly. I know I've hurt you. I only hurt myself, I correct. What has happened isn't your fault. It is, she challenges. I could have handled things differently. I could have too, I add. She offers a timid smile. I guess, I say with a huff. I just wanted you to know that my line of work is everywhere, meaning wherever you are, I'd have a job and can provide for us. Ivy nods. At the rate Abney and Sherman is going, you wouldn't have to. I study her for a few seconds. Business is that good. We just landed a few new clients, Ivy shares. Our staff is increasing, and as soon as we have at least 100 of us total, we'll be able to take on the big clients. How many more do you need? I inspect, taking a bite. Ivy thinks for a second. 64. We've doubled in the past 8 months. That's great, I praise. Cece and I are hoping to hit the mark by the end of next year, but it depends on the talent we're able to hire, Ivy explains. Anything I can help with? I inspect. Not unless you know people who are great with coding, graphic work, web development, videography skills, or anything else related to that, she states. Unfortunately, I don't, I confirm. But I'm willing to learn. Thanks, Ivy replies. We're good. We just need to keep on bringing on enough clients that'll allow us to hire. How many more clients do you need? I inspect. Depends on their size and what they need from us, Ivy shares. 40 to 50 of the lower end, or about 25 for the largest size. I nod, processing how I might help. I can make a few introductions around town if that will. It would depend on their budget, Ivy explains. I can give you the details later so you can spot if a company can use us. She takes another bite. I'm hoping Grady can tell me who I need to talk to for the company you two work for. You wouldn't happen to know, would you? Why is that? I pry. Because, with the launch, they need more PR than they've got, Ivy informs. I've done some research on what they already have. It's not bad, but if they want to be booked all year round, they'll need what we offer. I'm sure Grady will be able to talk to him or her at some point, I suggest. I know new companies are already cash-strapped, but we can prove our value easily with just $100 a week, Ivy adds. Those are the companies Cece and I work on directly. Once we get them to where the company is making at least 1,000% on their return, that's usually about 2 or 3 months in, we're able to get them to increase how much they're paying us. We did that with one of Cece's father's companies. They're our biggest client now. Congrats, I commend. Thanks, she says proudly. Is he using you for the rest of his companies? I check. Not for all of them yet, Ivy states. Like I said, we need to be a larger sized company before certain ones will work with us openly. We've done some consulting work, though, which has been beneficial all around. Good, I reply. Did helping your dad with stuff around the house get you into construction? Ivy inquires. Kind of, I share. Mr. Prescott needed some help with some housework after his accident. He couldn't afford to hire a company since he was on disability, so Dad and I went over to help. Mr. Prescott paid when he could beyond covering the cost of the materials. How's Mr. Prescott now? Ivy asks. Good, I reply. Anytime he needs something fixed or work on, he calls me. That's great, Ivy returns with a growing smile. So do you live alone in New York? I search, not liking the idea of her being by herself. No, Ivy returns. I've got a roommate. Good, I sigh. I don't like the idea of you being alone. Ivy smiles. Nope. How far do you live from your office? I pry. Just a few blocks, Ivy confirms. I usually walk unless the weather is really bad. When isn't the weather bad? I tease. New York has its good days, Ivy says defensively. I laugh. Sure, it does. Like 5 days out of the year. Georgia isn't always better, Ivy reminds. True, I agree. But at least you can breathe down here. There's actually plant life versus all that concrete. That, I will agree, Ivy says. But there's nothing quite like the smell of New York. You done? I check, noticing how she hasn't taken a bite for a while. Yes, thank you, she replies. It was delicious. Wait until you try dessert, I return with a grin. You made dessert too? She asks with a shocked expression. No, I chuckle, but it's edible off of a naked body. I should have known, Ivy says, shaking her head. Can I help? I take the dishes she was reaching for. Yes, I agree. Strip down to your underwear. How is that helping? Ivy checks speculatively. You're asking how a practically naked woman helps me do dishes, I inspect. Yes, she giggles. It helps me envision what I want to do to your body in the next few minutes, I inform. Who says I'm going to let you do those things to my body? Ivy goads. Firefly, this is a battle you will not win, I state. I beg to differ, she states confidently. You will be begging, that's for sure, I chuckle. Now, get undressed. I move toward the kitchen area. No, Ivy counters. I glance back over my shoulder, depositing the dishes gently into the sink. Placing my hands on the edge of the counter, I warn. You have 3 seconds to start undressing, or else. Or else what? Ivy baits. Or else you'll be begging me to let you come, but I won't, I declare, turning to face her. Ivy plays a little coy. I can't take the dress off, Ivy claims. Sure you can, I encourage. No, she argues. I can't reach the zipper. I'll help you, I offer, stepping toward her. No, she yells. I frown. I'm not, Ivy begins. I don't care if it's that time of the month, I state. Ivy gives me a disgusted look. It's not that, she claims. Then, what is it? I press, taking another step toward her. She lets out a heavy sigh. I'm not wearing any underwear. It takes me several seconds to process her words. You mean to tell me that dress is all you've got on? I check. Ivy nods hesitantly. This whole time, I check, still shocked at the idea that she's practically naked. Ivy nods again. God, you're beautiful, I say, brushing strands of her hair off her face. Ivy smiles. Kinda cute, too. Kind of, I snap playfully. Ivy giggles. I love you, I hum into her ear. Ivy's body goes a little rigid. I don't expect you to say it, I inform. I just want you to know. I love you, and I will do anything that needs to be done so we're together. Ivy's smile widens, though it doesn't reach her eyes. I'm sure she's nervous, unsure if we'll fuck this up again or really be happy. One of the phones rings, and I pull her into me. I need to check that, Ivy states. Don't, I request. I won't answer, Ivy says. I just need to know who it is. I reluctantly let her go. It's just Cece, she says. I'll call her back later. Her phone makes another sound and then another right after it. Ivy's face falls. What is it? I ask. I don't know, she replies. Ivy punches something in and then places the phone between her shoulder and ear. Ivy? I question, not liking her expression. Cece? Ivy's voice grates with concern laced in her words. What's happened? I listen, hoping to catch the gist of the conversation. What? Ivy replies, sounding more shocked. What? I ask softly, but Ivy ignores me. When did it happen? She pries. Ivy waits for another answer. Okay, I'm on my way. What happened? I check. No, Ivy says, putting her boots on. I'm coming back. I'll be right there. What's happened? I repeat as Ivy hangs up the phone. Cece's going to the hospital, Ivy states. Is she okay? What happened? I inquire. I don't know, Ivy informs. She got cut off before telling me. I'm sure her father can be there for her. Stay and go back up in the morning, I suggest. Her dad's out of the country for business, Ivy informs. Her mom? I offer. Her mom's not with her anymore, Ivy states. I'll come with you, I say, looking for my keys. No, Ivy shouts. Why not? I check. Cece's funny about people she doesn't know knowing certain things, Ivy states oddly. I'll go up tonight and I'll be back in a few days. That's ridiculous, I say. I'll just come. If anything, you need me. Please, Henry, Ivy begs. I promise I'll be back after I know she's okay. Cece's like a sister to me. I have to go. Please understand.
This is the end of this chapter. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. To read the full unabridged version, you can find a link in the description below. To find out about new releases before the general public, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. You'll find a link also in the description. Also, to be notified when the next chapter is published, make sure you subscribe to my channel.